Who was your idol growing up?
Who was my idol growing up? I hate this question.
Sorry.
Because I don't think I had one.
Mm-hmm.
Like I loved Lane Beachley because she was a surfer.
Yeah.
Like Kathy Freeman. But like I loved like my idols, if we're going to talk about idols, they weren't females.
Mm-hmm.
I loved Adam Goods. I loved Michael O'Loughlin, Brett Kurt, like all Swans players. I just loved them. I loved what they did. I'd go watch footy and I was like, I'm going to be the first female footballer to play for a men's team. Like, because obviously there was no like AFLW in the horizon. But yeah, I think like they were like my idols. Like I'd watch them and try and mimic like what they did and like try and replicate it. But yeah, I've probably like my mum, if I got to pick a female, like my mum would like literally leave work to pick me up and drive me 4 hours to training, like to do a 2-hour session and then 4 hours back. Like, so like her dedication to like be the best mum she could for me is something that I aspire to be to my kids.
Yeah. Kind of tying into that, do you think you had someone in the LGBT community you looked up to?
Oh, definitely not. I didn't know anyone, let alone get inspired. And yeah, like I didn't want to be gay. Like I feel bad saying that because I love being gay. I love my wife. But as a kid, like it was so like not normal.
Yeah.
I'm showing my age, like I'm 33, still young. But like I came out at 17, which was like forever ago, and it's not like how it is now. Like back then, a yes vote wasn't even a thing because it's like you couldn't even walk down the street holding a female's hand, you know, like that, let alone talk about getting married. Like that was just mind blown. And yeah, I didn't want to be gay. I would date boys just to prove to myself I wasn't gay. And yeah, and just got to a point where I was like, I've got to accept this and be happy with who I am. And like, thank God I did. Back to the question, did I have someone to look up to? No, because I knew no one. And if I ever did know someone, it would have been so weird. So it was, scary time to be able to come out by myself and not have that support. But it's definitely made me stronger because of that time.
And it seems like you're so comfortable in yourself now. So how does it feel knowing that young people from the queer community look up to you?
It's a bit surreal because like I'm just me.
Yeah.
And I didn't actually realise that people did look up to me until I announced my retirement. And the amount of people that came to my last game, and I think that was the beauty of announcing my retirement at the start of the year, which I don't know who many people do. Like I literally do things my own way my whole life, and one of those things was announcing my retirement at the start of the career, that season, because given my history of injuries, I was like, I bet I'm going to get injured round one, and then people are going to think I've had to retire because I'm injured. So I was like, I'm going to announce it now, so if I get injured, it's like not a thing. And yeah, which it literally became this like farewell victory lap around Australia, saying goodbye to fans. It was unreal. Like the people would come to my game and thank me for giving them like the courage to come out to their parents or fall back in love with the sport. And yeah, I feel actually bad because I never wanted to be that gay token player, and I wish I had that insight now to be that person. And because if I could change that many people's lives or give them that hope that they could be who they were by not doing anything and just sharing my story on social media, what could I have changed if I was a voice or I was able to speak more as a kid? Wasn't meant to be. So, but like, what can I do now? I think is where I'm at, because it's such a space, a big space that I want to get into, because I've known people who have lost their lives over it, and I'm thankful now haven't lost anyone in a very long time, but you know, you still hear those stories, and the fact that people don't feel comfortable in their own skin. Like I just want everyone to know, like, it doesn't matter if you are gay, straight, bi, black, white, whatever, like whoever you are, like own it. Because if people don't want you or accept you, then they're not worth getting to know either. And it's so easy to say. So I know it's extremely hard to live it and be that. But, you own your destiny. And I think, if anyone doesn't accept who you are, see you later. You're not worth knowing.
Yeah. And I mean, I guess there is that expectation that sometimes being the first to come out, you are meant to be that token gay. But I think that's where you're heavily important, just because the power of visibility, like you're out there just owning that you're a netball player, and that being queer just happens to be part of your identity. And I think that's pretty cool.
Oh, 100%. And like being, like I said before, it doesn't matter who you are. Like, don't be like, that just shouldn't define you. Like, I think your personality should define you, and what you do in your life should define you, because that's your choice. I didn't choose to be gay. I didn't want to be gay. Yeah. But how I treat people and how I go about my life, that defines me. And if I become a shit human and like don't accept people for who they are, then judge me on that, because that was my choice. Yeah. And it's the whole kind of perception that we don't like, oh, look at that straight netballer, like, isn't she great? People, it's like, why do people feel like you have to come out and hold a press conference because I am gay and to the world? Like, I don't see straight people doing that. So why do you have to as a gay athlete? And I'm lucky that I started when I made it in netball, I was already out. So it wasn't like a big thing. And I hope like one day we have a young gay footballer drafted, so it's not a thing. Yeah. Rather than having a big name player come out and have to say they're gay, because that is the fear of a big name player coming out, is that you lose what you've done. Yeah. As a footballer, rather than as like who you are. So I think I can't wait for the day that a young boy gets drafted and he's already gay, his boyfriend's there, and it's not a thing. So because I think that's football. AFL will not move forward until something like that happens. Yeah. And I think it's also like the consideration that why do we expect queer people to have to come out? It's their journey. Like, if you don't want to come out, you don't have to come out. Yeah. And they're kind of reflections that I think the queer community should like take into account too. Like, it's your journey. Just because someone like Ash Brazill came out doesn't mean you have to. 100%. Yeah. Own who you are. Yeah, exactly. Lovely words. I mean, I feel like you've kind of touched on it, but do you think you were viewed differently throughout your career, from like drafting to retirement? I don't think so. I think, and if I have, it's been behind my back, behind closed doors, which is great. If you're going to judge me, judge away. Like, I don't care. Just don't do it to my face, like, because I don't want to hear it. I live a very happy life and I would like to keep it that way. But of course there's going to be haters, like, it doesn't matter what you do in the world. Like, I think it's human nature to be either jealous or have something negative against someone. And so it's definitely going to be there. But I'm lucky that I've had a lot of positive stuff in my life to kind of push that away. And it's like social media is the worst. I think like after a game, you can have like 1,000 positive comments, and if there's one negative, like that's the one you remember. And I've just learnt to like read it and laugh about like who this person would be. I always picture them like really overweight, stuck in an armchair watching like netty or footy, and like telling me that I can't play. Like, and they're probably not like that at all, but that's what I visualize, because I'm like, if you are that kind of person that has to stop your life to write something negative, like that's who I see. I actually find it pretty funny things to read now. It took a long time to get there, but that's where I'm at. But cool.
Back on like being a female in sport. Sorry, some of these questions are kind of jumping. I was meant to put them in chronological order, but clearly I didn't. Do you believe you have received the same credibility as male athletes?
No way. Definitely not. But like, that's just the world we're in, and I think we're getting there. I didn't, and you don't realise until you see it, right? Yep. Like, I did not get it until going to Collingwood and seeing like what the Collingwood boys get and what I've probably experienced in the past, and then even coming into Collingwood as a netballer, what we got compared to the boys. Yeah, like our change room, once we moved into Collingwood, we couldn't even fit our whole team in it. Like, we had to like half in, get your stuff half out. Like, just our showers were cold for years because the hot water system wouldn't work on that side of the building, like where the boys was completely different. And just little things like that, which you'd think doesn't make a difference, just makes you feel like, oh, it's just because we're girls. Like, and you start having those comments. Now, the facilities at Collingwood are amazing. And like, Collingwood are very much like, if you're our athlete, you're our athlete, and you get treated equally. And like, I feel that, which is great. But at the start, it was definitely not like that. And I didn't expect it to be either, because it originally was a Collingwood boys football club. So if it was going to take time to change, and like, to their credit, it's 7 years old, and it's already equal. And like, a lot of places would take a lot longer than 7 years to get to that place. So extremely grateful for Collingwood. But you know, you look at like AFL, for instance, like they get packed out stadiums like week in, week out. It's unbelievable. And like, you go to a netball game. Yes, some games are sold out, great. Other games, you're getting 1,000 people there. So the scale is so different. And, you know, I think there's no point complaining about, oh, the boys get this, until you get like sold out stadiums and you're still getting that. Like, you need eyes on the court or the field to get better, I guess, everything. So that's how I see it. I know the rest, a lot of people don't see it that way, but I think you need to own it first before you can get bigger things. And like AFLW already, like, we're getting great numbers to the game, and it's only going to grow. But you skip back to what I talked about with the Matildas, and you know, it's all about marketing. Like, AFL is marketed so well that they every Sunday, young kids, like if you go to school, you get into the footy free. Like, netball, AFLW, we need to start doing things like that. But for the moment, because like, we're not making that money, or not backed in by male sport, like, every dollar counts. Every dollar is accounted for, because it's going somewhere, and we need that dollar. So it is hard, but I think you need to spend money to make money.
So it's not necessarily a matter of females having to work twice as hard to receive the same credibility. It's just like the lack of marketing, you would say?
I reckon it's a big thing. And like what backs it up is the Matildas. Like, they had a campaign that went for 12 months. Like, our Netball World Cup, our campaign started a week before World Cup. Like, it's...
And it was just on Foxtel, wasn't it?
It was on Foxtel, and it was our own social media. You know, so like... And I understand, like, you got to have player rights with images and stuff like that. But like, just the Matilda logo, or the Soccer World Cup logo, was all around Melbourne, was all around Sydney, was in the airports, and like, things like that. I don't even follow soccer. I don't even like the game that much. And because of that, I was interested. I bought into it. I loved watching the Matildas. Like, I knew names that you going there, you just know Sam Kerr. And then you walking out knowing like 10 other players' names. Like, it was, we were lucky that Matildas invited the Diamonds to the Australia-France game for the practice match. And it was one of the best experiences I've ever had in sport, like, to watch. So, you just need that marketing, you need that vibe, and you need to sometimes just give stuff away free so people can watch what they're going to love, and then they want to go back.
What advice would you give to your younger self or young athletes kind of wanting to pursue your path?
Oh, do it because you love it. You know, I think one thing my nonno said to me back in the day, he was like, give it up once you stop loving it. And I remember I was 15. I was like, all right, mate. Like, what do you mean? Like, I'm going to stop loving sport? Like, who do you think I am? Like, no way. And like, it's literally stayed in my head ever since I was a 15-year-old kid. And I'm lucky enough with netball, I've never fallen out of love with it. Footy's so new that I'm probably not going to fall out of love with it for a very long time. And since retiring, I've been able to watch the game and enjoy it as a fan. And I don't know too many athletes that have been able to watch netball like straight after retiring. Normally they have a year or two off before they can even watch it again. So I'm definitely lucky that I've never fallen out of love with it. And I've probably fallen back in love with it even more since retiring. So let's say, like, I guess the advice is, stop if you don't love it anymore, because it's the best advice I've ever received.
No, incredible. What is next for Ash Brazill?
Well, I'm moving to WA. So like, I'm not ready to stop playing footy. So hopefully get picked up over there. I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see what happens in the next week or so. But I'm just ready to like be a footballer. I think my whole football journey, I've just been a dual code athlete, and I haven't had a full preseason of footy. It's just been like, I think, I finished the World Cup and I came back 3 weeks later, was round one. And so that first week I had off, and it was just like a build up to try and get me ready for round one. And like I'm literally playing as a netballer on the footy field because that's how my body has to adjust. So to actually have a full preseason in one sport, I'm probably going to hate it because I haven't done a preseason in a long time. But I'm just excited to have the next 6 months in a caravan, spending it with my family and just enjoying that time because, my kids probably haven't had a weekend away from sport because every weekend they're either watching me play netball or footy. So I'm not going to know myself, and they're definitely not going to know themselves, and they're probably going to get to know me a little bit better away from the court.
Yeah. What do you want your legacy to be?
I hate this question, like, because it's something you don't get to really choose. Like, it's you do because it's how you act. But what do I want my legacy to be? I just think someone who just enjoyed what she did and owned who she was. And one thing that like a lot of players have said to me, like they loved coming up against me because like I'd just be like happy and like joyful to play on, and like that's really cool because like that's when I played against people like Liz Watson, for instance. I loved playing against Liz Watson, like best wing attack, because you had a fair game, like, and we could just have like a laugh on the court, a joke on the court, and it was enjoyable to play. And to play against someone who loves the game just as much as you do, I think, you can appreciate each other's game. And like it's a game within a game because like obviously there's an end result, but in the end it's like, well, who won out of us two in that little battle? So hopefully players see me like that. And I would love to leave netball in a better place when it comes to pride. Even though I've retired, that space for me isn't closed, and I would love to say netball and really create a really open game that doesn't matter who you are, like this sport's for you, because the joy it gave me and like I said before, like it literally saved my life in the toughest years of my life. I want it to be that safe place for so many young females, males, anybody that plays this game.
You pretty much touched on it, like with the pride space. I think that's a really important space that needs to be worked on within netball. So what like more needs to be done? You mentioned there's no pride round. Like, is that kind of the biggest thing, or?
Yeah, I think it's one thing, but that's just at the top. You know, like you look at players, like, I look at players who have left netball to play footy or another sport, and I'm like, why did you leave? Like, and their thing is they didn't feel like they belonged. And like, so belonging is such a big thing, and that's not at the top. Like that starts from community. It starts at Nets at Go, like when you're 5. Like you need to feel like it's, somewhere you belong, somewhere where your friends are, your family, and you can just be you. Yeah. And so, for me, it's like scratch professional netball. Like it starts from the bottom up, and right now we're trying to do the opposite. We're trying to get it from the top, get it right, and then filter it down. And we're working on that. But there's a lot needs to get done through the whole thing, and a pride round is definitely the first thing that we need to do. But I don't want it to be a tick the box exercise where you have to do it. Like, how do we make it something that, yes, we have a pride round, but every single day we live those values?
Don't want tokenistic little changes just to tick a box. So you mentioned obviously your kids will be able to get into whatever sport they want, but what do you want the pride community to be like for their generation?
Oh, just like a non-event.
Yeah.
Like we shouldn't have to have a pride round. We shouldn't have to have an Indigenous round. Like these things are so ridiculous that we can't see people for people. Yeah. Like we're all the same. So I would love that my kids grew up in a world where everyone's accepted, and like I know that's me living in a fairy tale, but honestly, like, is it that hard just to like say hello to people because you walk past them? Like, so I would love for already, like I said, Louis can walk up to someone and be confident to say he's got 2 mums and it not be an issue, or not me hold my breath because, oh my God, is this person, what are they going to say to him? Yeah. So like, it's not even what Louis thinks. It's like how that person is going to react to such a innocent and beautiful thing. So, I would love to get to a point where I don't have to hold my breath to hear a response.
Yeah. And then just tying into personal, professional, you've got your lap of Australia in the van. Do you think you're going to head into coaching? What's the kind of go? Are you going to stick around in the netball football world?
Oh yeah, I like sport. Can't get rid of me. I love it.
Yeah.
So yeah, on our journey, I'll be doing netball clinics around Australia, and that's just started because me being a country kid, not knowing for so long that netball could be a career path for me. I want to reach as many young kids as I can to let them know that this could be a career path for them, and why not? You know, like I get to now meet all these young kids that are so passionate about the sport and see all these cool netball courts. Like the courts I grew up, we had 3 netball courts and I think 4 or 5 grass netball courts, and they were terrible. And so just to see like, I guess, conditions and like how people grow up and play the game, and hopefully, you know, Frankie and Louis can love the game just as much as I did by doing this journey as well.
No, I love that. And I think it's so important, like from my experience when I went out and worked in a remote community, like sport is so different out there. So it's actually really awesome that you're going out targeting whether their netball court's just a red dirt kind of
can't
thing.
wait.
Yeah.
That's what I want to see. I want to see red dirt netball courts. Like that's the goal.
Yeah, I remember the footy field was just red dirt and I was like, how do they play on this? Like when you get tackled, that is going to hurt. But no, that's awesome. Getting the people more involved, 100%. Those who wouldn't have known otherwise. That is pretty much all. I promised the boys I would ask you if you'd like to fill in for my netball team tonight.
I've got to go back and parent my children.
How dare you?
I did say though after my after the World Cup, I said I will never play netball again. So I want my last ever game to be World Cup.
Yeah,
so
you don't want to go to a local one.
Nah, Brooke's like, I thought we were going to play together. I was like, oh, let's just play basketball or something. Like, my last game needs to be the
end on
grand
the high
final
note.
World Cup. That's it.
It's so smart. Plus, it's the finals anyway. You can't have fill-ins who haven't played 4 games, but we'll sneak you in.
Why not? I'll just play under an alias.
Yeah. Cool. Well, that's all we have time for. Thank you so much for coming down and talking to us. You've been incredible. Loved learning more about you. So
no, thank you for having me.
Cool.
Unreal.